Welcome to Wiki Sift, a shallow dive into pop culture and fandom. Today we're going to be talking about obscure, low-budget sequels that have been... Whoa. Okay, sorry, I threw myself with my own wording on that, so let me try this again. Today we're going to be talking about obscure, low-budget sequels that have been churned out in a...
I'm sorry, you broke me already. Just like you mentioned, this is what happens when you try to be serious. They spontaneously.
All right. Today we're going to be talking about obscure.
I'm trying.
Hi. Welcome to Wiki. I don't know why, but starting over from the beginning just made it funnier to me.
23 minutes in, when you're supposed to actually start, and you're stuck with a case of the giggles. Great, we lasted all of 1.01 episodes.
Welcome to Wiki Sift, a shallow dive into pop culture and fandom. Today, we're going to be talking about obscure, low-budget sequels that have been churned out in a way that's baffling. I'm Tom, he's an evil genius white, and today I am joined by...
This laughing maniac.
Stevo.
The Stevo from Friday Night Fanfiction and Night Horse Media. Although at this point I believe I am now officially doing more projects with you than I am with my own media empire.
Yeah, that's probably true of me too, with how much having a baby has set me back with all my projects. It's like, now everything I do is just stuff I do with Stevo.
Not that that's a bad thing. It's just, it is the way of the world. So yes, I had mentioned in the 23 minutes cut prior to this about the fact that I didn't do enough to get kicked off the show the first time, that Tom has inevitably brought me back, so it's good to see you again, Tom.
It's good to see you, Steven.
Everybody listening has no idea that you send me random Discord spam at least once a day. This is what our friendship has become.
What this whole show is about is taking a peek at obscure and ridiculous trivia from fandoms that we do not participate in. Because I could watch all 834 episodes of every Dragon Ball series, but I would rather just read in a wiki how many times Goku has died. The answer is 6 times.
6 times?
Yes. And I know some people are going to argue about me about which ones are canon, which ones aren't, because that's the nature of fandom. But today specifically, I would like to talk about low-budget movies and their bizarre sequels. Last time we talked about series that made you ask, why does this movie have so many sequels? Today we're asking, why does this movie have so many sequels? But we're also going to talk about just low-budget sequel weirdness in general. So,
all right.
I do want to kind of briefly talk about kind of a weird experience that I had with a movie called Category 7. It's Category 7, The End of the World. It's a 2005 two-part TV miniseries, which I actually got on a DVD, and I just thought it's a movie. I didn't know it was a miniseries. It was just like sold on a DVD as a movie. So I didn't realize when I got it that it's actually a sequel to 2004's Category 6, The Day of Destruction, which is also a two-part miniseries. And here's where it gets really strange. Okay, so I was looking around online and I found a DVD box set that has Category 6, Category 7, and Category 8 all in one box set. The thing is, though,
Wait a minute. CBS produced Category 6? All right.
Did they?
Okay. It's a Category 6, 2004 4-hour television miniseries that was broadcast in the United States on CBS.
Huh.
Weird.
Okay, so
Right.
here's where things get a little bit strange. So this DVD set that I found is Category 6, Category 7, and Category 8. The thing is, Category 8 is not part of the series. They took a completely unrelated movie and stuck it on a DVD and passed it off as part of the series. The movie is just called Cat 8. It's with like a period and an 8. It's a 3-hour unrelated Canadian movie called Cat 8, and they just slapped it in the box set as if it's part of the same series, and they changed its name on the thing to Category 8 The End Is Near, just to try to like really trick you into thinking this is all a trilogy.
I'm already sucked in. Like, I'm looking at Cat 7. I'm sorry, Category 7, The End of the World. Calling it Cat 7 and Cat 8 is like, all right, well, how many cats am I going to own before I become a crazy cat lady? So, no, Category 7, in full, The End of the World, has Robert Wagner, Randy Quaid, Shannon Doherty, and James Brolin in it?
Yeah.
Like, okay, friggin' Randy Quaid I could do without. Randy Quaid, to me, is just a cloned version of Rob Schneider, and neither of them are funny. So, but Shannon Doherty...
I would not have associated those two together at all, but okay.
But, like, Robert Wagner is, like, an actual actor, as is James Brolin, and they're in a movie that fakes a Category 7 storm with the plagues of Egypt? What? This is... All right, I'm sorry. Go on. I need you to lead the way. Be my shepherd, because I am very confused.
Okay, so this box set, I haven't been able to find it online since, because it just kind of disappeared offline. And yet,
where did you get it from?
I just found it online, and then later I tried to find it, and it was just missing. So
like, it wasn't like something that in eBay that somebody like cobbled together?
No, it was an official thing, and it must have been effective, because if you go on Amazon's page for Category 7, it says frequently bought together. It shows Category 7, Category 6, and Cat 8. So marketing them as a series seems to have worked somehow. Because now when people buy one, they're inclined to buy the other ones, even though one of them is not part of the series.
I see. I'm not looking like at the links themselves. I'm looking at the URLs. And does Category 8 not have a wiki page?
Probably not.
I have to, because if it's
obscure.
that low budget. All right, I gotta look this up. But continue.
So yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that. I just found it fascinating that they had like this. I know this is a practice that DVD sellers have been doing for a long time, but it's so blatantly like misleading. Of course.
Really Randy Quaid's character's name is Tornado Tommy. Ugh, great. So, what I'm getting out of this is that the first one was like a CBS attempt at what like the History Channel tries to do sometimes with like the dramatization of like what if could happen kind of thing. And they tried to get some... My God, Brian Dennehy was in the friggin' first... He was in Category 6. It's like... This feels like a death knell. Brian Dennehy starred in this, then he died. Robert Wagner starred in one. He's still alive, but he's Robert Wagner, so maybe he just has a thing about fighting off death. These look awful.
Yeah,
and they look like they didn't take... Go ahead.
That's why I bought Category 7 on DVD. I think mine came with like a completely unrelated or did I just buy it by itself? I always confuse it for like the 3 other disaster movies that I have on DVD that I got just because they look so bad. But I never actually watched it.
There are a lot of like B, C, and Z grade disaster movies, like from 1999 onward. There are way too many.
Let's move on to the first of the series that I really want to sink into, which is the Bloodfist series. Are you familiar?
All right, this is the first time hearing of this.
Okay, Bloodfist is a 1989 American martial arts film starring Don the Dragon Wilson and Billy Blanks. This is basically...
Oh, I've seen Don Wilson. He is in Sci-Fighter.
He's in a lot of things. He was a professional martial artist and transitioned into an actor of sorts, and basically Bloodfist was kind of like one of the 100 knockoffs of
Bloodsport?
Bloodsport, thank you. I mean, it's right in the title, Bloodsport, Bloodfist.
Also, before you continue, if you haven't seen Sci-Fighter, go watch it. It is like, he has a friend who made an interactive video game for his kid that features martial artists, and then the kid gets stuck in the game, and his dad has to go and rescue him, and it has some of the worst CG I have seen, bar none.
So, is this going to be a thing that happens in every episode? We stumble upon a movie where people get sucked into a video game?
Sure. That can be a bingo square for people who are playing at home.
Because, okay, first Barbie, now Don the Dragon Wilson. So, but I don't want to glaze over the fact that Billy Blanks was in this movie. If you don't know who Billy Blanks
was in this?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you don't know who Billy Blanks is, he's the Tai Bo guy.
Yeah. There's go ahead.
Let's look at what Wikipedia says about the plot. A man gets beaten by his opponent, but after he finds out the fight was rigged, he decides to fight back. He kills his opponent and is announced as the winner. On his way back to his home, another man kills him. Back in the United States, retired boxer Jake Ray and co-owner of Hal and Jake's self-defense class receives a call from the Philippines Police Department. He is told his half-brother
Hal
Michael
and Jake's
is dead.
self-defense class sounds like something given by a bunch of bikers with lots and lots of body hair involving guns. Maybe it's just the area of Maryland I live in, but that sounds sketchy as hell. Do go on.
Yeah, so he receives a call from the Philippines Police Department. He is told his half-brother Michael is dead, and he must pick up the body in Manila. Ray travels to Manila and collects the body, but he decides to stay there and find his brother's killer. So, like, I feel like they've thrown, like, 19 plot points into the first, like, third of the movie here.
Yeah, Jake just wanders around Manila looking for all those really good folders they're talking about. Sorry, terrible joke.
Okay, there's, like, just in this brief synopsis, there's so many things about this plot that make no sense to me. Like, so a man gets beaten by his opponent, but then after he finds out the fight was rigged, he decides to fight back, and then he gets announced as the winner, but of the fight he already lost.
Well, yeah, they had to Vince McMahon it. You gotta fake it. If it doesn't go your way, you still gotta fake it. You just send somebody out to cap him afterwards.
And I guess this all took place in the Philippines because it just tells us in the second paragraph that retired boxer Jake Ray finds out that his brother was killed in the Philippines and just sets out to collect the body and also solve the murder because that's what retired boxers do.
But completely ignoring the fact that you can't just go somewhere and, like, decide to stay.
Yeah, I know,
there's
right?
A thing. It's like you're on a visitor visa. You have a limited amount of time. You can't just park your ass there unless you're requesting asylum. So, yeah, that's bugging me a little bit. But all right, so let's pretend that this isn't already slipping us up.
So this is the plot of the first movie, and there are let's see how many of them. There are 8 of these movies.
Is Don in all of them?
He is in all of them. Here, I have the Wikipedia page for Don Wilson up here. I just want to mention this amazing list of movies that he's credited as being in. Like, this is what Wikipedia says. Some movies to his credit include Future Kick, Bloodfist 1 to 8, Ring of Fire 1, 2, and 3, Out for Blood, Operation Cobra, Black Belt, Cyber Tracker 1 and 2, Terminal Rush, Redemption, Say Anything, Capital Conspiracy. Is that one title? Say Anything, ellipsis, Capital Conspiracy? I think that's one title. Anyway, also, Moving Target and Batman Forever as the leader of the Neon Gang.
Oh, man, they didn't mention the best movie he's been in, 18 Fingers of Death.
Yeah, or the one that you just mentioned.
Sci-Fighter, yeah.
Yeah.
Although 18 Fingers of Death is considered better because it has its own wiki page, whereas Sci-Fighter doesn't even have an annotation link. But that, yeah.
These are the ones that Wikipedia
a...
found important enough to mention.
Yeah.
I kind of love...
I'm now trying to shake the
like...
idea that Operation Cobra is tied into Diamond Cobra.
I really love how the first movie that it mentions in his illustrious career is Future Kick.
It's like, or what the hell are those David Carradine? It's Future Force and Future Zone?
In Future Zone, yes.
Yeah, Future Force and Future Zone. So Future Kick is just the one where David Carradine kicks the cameraman. I'm sending you an image. This is the movie poster for Future Kick, or as I like to call it, Dean Cain from The Adventures of Lois and Clark dresses up in a Terminator 2 cosplay.
Wow.
Because that's exactly what it friggin' looks like.
Okay, let me pull this up here. This is a thing of beauty. And remember this... Roger Corman? Of course Roger Corman.
Yeah, it's Roger Corman. Of course it's Roger Corman. He's produced at least 17,000 films.
Can I point out that this is the first movie that Wikipedia points to in his illustrious career?
Do you think he edited it himself, the wiki page? This was the one he was most proud of?
It's possible. That did occur to me.
All right. I'm immediately going to add this to my Amazon video to watch list of Future Kick.
It's so enticing, isn't it?
It is. I want to know, what kind of kick is it? When will it happen in the future? Will I be there? There's so many questions. This is a deep philosophical dive.
All right.
Again, why do you bring me back?
Anyway, so let's talk some more about Bloodfist. So, I mean, the plot of the first movie already doesn't sound like it makes too much sense, but then let's look at Bloodfist 2, which was in 1990, 1 year later. The film opens with Jake Ray as he fights Mickey Sheehan. Sheehan?
Sheehan, yeah.
Yeah, in a pro kickboxing bout. Jake delivers Mickey a lightning-fast kick to the throat in the middle of the 6th round, instantly killing him.
There's that Future Kick!
Seeing what he had done, he decides to give up kickboxing once and for all. A year later, a friend and manager, Vinny Petrello, kickboxing UFC champion Maurice Smith, asks him for a favor to travel to Manila and bail him out of trouble with a guy... Who wrote this? Who wrote the synopsis?
Somebody who's very interested in it. This sounds like an Ancestry.com report. Like, just naming names, relations to people.
So, okay, Vinny Petrello asks him for a favor to travel to Manila and bail him out of trouble with a guy named Sue. And that's S-U, not like the Johnny Cash song. Although Jake's evening with a prostitute is interrupted, he agrees to help his friend in need. I love how just casually it throws that in. So Jake Ray is distraught from accidentally killing someone in the ring and decides to swear off kickboxing. Next thing, he's in Manila with a prostitute and solving a murder.
I would like to imagine that he's looking, like, in one hand, he's looking at clues for his half-brother's murder, and the other hand, he's literally giving pleasure to said prostitute, and he just looks at the camera and says, you know what, I should get back into kickboxing.
So these only get stranger as they go.
Okay, all right. Again, you haven't shook me off. So let's go to Bloodfist 2, the Bloodfistening.
That was Bloodfist 2.
Better than Bloodfist 3, the tale of my colonoscopy.
That was Bloodfist 2 that I was just talking about. Although they have enough in common.
I thought that was like the second half of Bloodfist 1.
Well, compared to the rest of them, the first two have too much in common that you could easily confuse them as being one movie.
Oh, like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or Evil Dead.
Okay, so here's Bloodfist 3, Forced to Fight. The final film in the series to be released theatrically, as the other 5 sequels went straight to video. It features Richard Roundtree.
What are these names from a John Waters film?
Oh, you don't know who Richard Roundtree is? He was the original Shaft.
Oh, okay.
And
I did not know that.
And from what I can see, he probably played the magical black man of the movie. I'm gonna do a content warning here for the next few minutes. There is mention of sexual assault and racism, so just wanted to warn people a little bit before we talk about that. So if you'd like to skip ahead, please skip ahead to 28 minutes and 46 seconds. So here's the summary of the plot. Jimmy Boland,
for the third or the fourth?
For the third movie.
Okay.
Jimmy Boland, Don Wilson, has been sentenced to a California maximum security prison for a murder that he didn't commit. When he sees some black prison inmates sodomizing his friend, he flies into a rage and kills the gang leader. The prison warden, in an effort to do Jimmy in, transfers him to the black wing of the prison.
Okay, alright. Getting rough.
That's the summary. The prison has a black wing? What is that? So IMDb has some quotes. And it only has 5 quotes listed for this movie, and 2 of them have racial slurs in it. And one of the other ones, it has in brackets, explaining why he was sent to prison. Jimmy Boland, they didn't like the color of my skin. Now, Don the Dragon Wilson is half Japanese, so he could be like referencing like I'm Asian, so I don't get the same due process as like a white guy, but he's playing a character named Jimmy Boland, which I don't know if this is like a commentary on racism or if it's like the people making this movie actually thought like, oh, white guys can't do anything, that's why they get sent to prison. It's kind of mind-boggling to me.
So I'm reading the rest of the plot now, and you cut it off a little early. It gets more fun.
Oh yeah.
Like, so they transfer him to the black wing of the prison, where he's sure the black prisoners will dispatch him quickly. You know, he basically offed the drug supply source to the leader of the black gang. And apparently Wheelhead, which, beautiful character name right there, a white inmate and leader of a group of white supremacists, takes Jimmy under his wing and offers Jimmy support if he joins the gang. So, get murdered by the black gang and or join the white gang. He ends up doing neither, and still, you'd think that, that's already a lot of gangs in one prison. There's another multiracial gang that Jimmy ends up joining. So, this sounds like an after-school special for people stuck in a juvenile prison. Don't go with the supremacist gangs. Go with the multiracial one. The ones that tend to the rooftop garden. This is wow.
So,
All right.
under on the IMDb page under trivia, it says this film was not originally intended to be a Bloodfist film. Concord Pictures made it under the title Forced to Fight. It was even advertised with this title in trailers, but the title was changed to Bloodfist 3 Forced to Fight before release to capitalize on Don the Dragon Wilson's success with the first two Bloodfist movies. The end credits also
I wonder how much success they're like capitalizing on there.
I don't know. A third-rate knockoff of Bloodsport and its terrible sequel. The end credits also
oof. You mentioned this is the like the last one released theatrically. You know how much it made at the box office? $35,000.
That's how much it made?
At $35,000.
Oof.
It's specifically $35,154 $1992.
Can I remind you that they made 5 more after this? This movie made $30,000 and they kept making more.
That might not be the insult you think it is. There are so many movies out there that made that much more money off of people who are either drunk and or bored wandering through Hollywood Video. Like, that the box office in this one, the fact that they had a theatrical release is the problem, because in order to do that, you have to spend money on marketing and getting your stuff into the theaters. So that's an abysmal bomb. If it just went straight to DVD, which I can only assume is why they made 5 more after this, they made a profit then again. But that's rough. Like, that's like a week at the local Lowe's during the $1 Sunday night with your like estranged father.
Okay, we're getting weirdly specific here. The end credits also...
I have a headcanon.
The end credits also still portray the title Forced to Fight. This explains why star Don the Dragon Wilson plays Jimmy Boland, a different character than the Jake Ray character he played in Bloodfist 1 and 2.
There are a bunch of movies where once they get down in the sequels, it doesn't involve, like, the same characters anymore. Though, I will say, neither do they involve a returning actor playing a different character and not the character they played before.
Yeah, there's a lot of that here.
This is unique.
Alright, so I enjoyed some of these reviews. If you go on IMDb and look at the reviews there, user GOWBTW gave the movie a 7 out of 10 and said, watchable. And... That was like the one-word summary. At the end of the review, he put, I enjoyed it pretty much, 2 out of 5 stars. 2 out of 5 does not translate to 7 out of 10, so I'm not sure what happened there. User Black Tie Fight gave it 4 out of 10. The summary was, Prison Race War. Says, this is just hilariously bad. Richard Roundtree is the only actor who can even remotely act in this film. The film begins with a guy raping another guy, and a kung fu action scene where the protagonist avenges the rape. This is no way dramatic, but everything is so ridiculous I was in tears laughing. If you are interested in a story that's actually worth watching, avoid this one. Also, one of the main characters is a sympathetic child molester. Also, I could have sworn one of the characters with no lines who gets killed appears again in a later scene.
The Space Mutiny continuity. Where a character is killed and then, like, 2 scenes later, that character is still alive. Lovely. All right, well, with 5 more films, it can only get better from here, right?
Yeah, I hope so. So, next movie, Bloodfist 4, Die Trying. When Danny unknowingly repossesses the car of a powerful arms merchant...
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. My ears had a dyslexic moment, and I heard you say Bloodfist 4, Try Dying.
I thought you were laughing at the part I was hoping you were laughing at, which is that he's already playing a completely different character again. When Danny...
Yeah, what? No!
When Danny unknowingly repossesses the car of a powerful arms merchant, it sets off a chain of violent retaliation. After his friends are killed and his daughter is kidnapped, Danny takes matters into his own hands. It does not matter that the CIA and the FBI are also involved. The dragon's fire is in his
All right,
fists.
hold it up. You just mentioned the CIA and the FBI. Maybe this is like a weird, like, this is the most unlucky person in history, and he's had to been placed in witness protection multiple times with new names and identities.
I kind of like this headcanon. First he's a retired boxer, and then does it say what Jimmy Bolin does, or he just goes to prison? Now he's a car
I don't know.
repo guy.
We might have to watch the movie.
No, on general principle.
You're saying, okay, I'll take one for the team and watch all 8 Bloodfists.
So yeah, Don Wilson is now Denny Holt. So I kind of love that Don the Dragon Wilson is half white, half Japanese, but every character he plays has the whitest name possible. Like Jake Ryan, Danny Holt, Jimmy Boland. It continues. Bloodfist 5, Don Wilson plays Jim Stanton.
Okay, these were written by an AI that traveled back in time.
Bloodfist 6, the premise, Air Force carrier Nick Corrigan is sent to deliver a message to a nuclear missile base in a remote corner of the Midwest. How are these part of a series? Like, it's just the same actor, but every time it's a completely different character.
Do you think he read the scripts before he did it? No, definitely not.
Okay, so Nick Corrigan is sent to deliver a message to a nuclear missile base in a remote corner of the Midwest. Unbeknownst to him, however, a gang of terrorists have taken over the base in hopes of launching the missiles at all of the nation's largest cities. In a panic, they lock Nick in the base, thinking to keep him from interfering with their plans. Little do they know, however, that Sergeant Corrigan is a former Special Forces soldier who is more than capable of shutting them down single-handedly.
He did survive a prison race war, after all.
It's right in the Wikipedia article for Bloodfist 6, under criticism.
Oh, we're jumping!
I kind of glazed over Bloodfist 5, because the only information that I really got from it is now he's Jim Stanton. So, yeah, at the bottom of the Wikipedia page under criticism, Jack Sheehan lists Bloodfist 6 Ground Zero as one of the most anti-Arabist films produced by the United States film industry.
Alright, I might skip that one.
So, you see why it's so baffling to me why this series has so many sequels? Because, like, none of them are making money, but they just keep making them.
I don't know. Well, they stopped making them in what year? Like 2012 or something?
96. So this was only
okay.
Over the course of 7 years. They made 8 movies in 7 years.
Wow. You're wrong.
What, they're making more?
You are wrong, Tom. Hold on. I'm sending you the link for Bloodfist 2050.
Is this a spin-off? Wait.
It's also known as Street Fighter 2050.
Yeah, okay, so the poster I see for it says Street Fighter 2050.
Yes, but this is listed as Bloodfist 2050. And it's the only one that does not star, so it might be a completely different thing altogether, but it apparently is tied in because of a similar name.
This is very confusing.
Wow. Also, be careful showing the photos from the IMDb. The second one is a little risque.
Yeah.
I love this woman who's just wiping toothpaste all over her body.
Did you say toothpaste? Alex Danko descends into the ultra-violent underworld of extreme martial arts to find his brother's killer with the help of hardened Detective Ramirez and his brother's alluring ex-lover. in this post-apocalyptic allegory of greed and revenge set in 2050 Los Angeles. What do you mean allegory? Greed and revenge are pretty universal concepts. You don't need to be like greed and revenge are going to be things in 2050.
Yeah, okay, so I'm looking at the reviews and like the Did You Know stuff. So yeah, this is considered part of the Bloodfist canon.
Is it
if there is such a thing?
Any of the same people?
It says, out of all 9 Bloodfist films, this is the only entry not to star Don the Dragon Wilson. So I'm not sure if it's just like a producer thing. Maybe it's also a Roger Corman production. But, no, I mean, so, yes, this is a thing that exists. Does this neatly bookend our discussion about fisting blood?
Moving on to Bloodfist 7, all I have on this one is the summary now says, Jim Trudell is a man pursued, branded a cop killer. He must fight simply to stay alive and to clear his name with the very police who framed him. Like, like, again, every character he plays has the whitest name, Jim Trudell.
Okay, that sounds like somebody who was from Quebec and spelled their name wrong on the passport application.
Yeah.
But no, my interest in this had peaked at some point, and now with the anti-Arabist and the confusing Street Fighter or whatever, Street Fight 2050, I'm no longer interested. I'm canceling my order of the DVDs.
So there's just one left, which is Bloodfist 8 Trained to Kill. Later released as Bloodfist 8 Hard Way Out.
Oh, please tell me Don the Dragon fights a train.
I don't think so. Don Wilson now plays Rick Cowan.
That's not a name! And I apologize if your name is Rick Cowan and you somehow stumble upon this podcast. I profusely apologize.
That would be pretty great. A former CIA a former CIA agent, Wilson, lives a suburban life as a high school teacher. I love how disparate all of his professions are in these movies, too. Like, he's always like this hardened kickboxer, but sometimes he's like a cop, sometimes he's special forces, sometimes he's a high school teacher, and then he's just like a repo guy. And so yeah, he lives a suburban life as a high school teacher with his teen son, White. That's his name, not his skin color. But when the agent is attacked by former allies because of knowledge he possesses and his son is kidnapped, he is forced back into the business.
Okay. At this point, with all of the other plots that they've gone through, this one just doesn't even faze me. Like, in the slightest. Also, I went on a side investigation for, so the director of Street Fighter 2050, aka Bloodfist 2050, Cirio H. Santiago, was born and died in the Philippines, so that ties back to the first Bloodfist then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He also, he died in 2008, and his last directed movie was released in 2014? That's quite a long amount of time between death and the publishing.
What is happening now?
No, I'm sorry. Here's your other little interjection. Going through, looking at Water Wars, which is that last movie I mentioned that was, directed by Bloodfist 2050 director. The IMDb recommended the movie just called Legend of the Naked Ghost. And
okay,
it's something we can get into on the next bad movie stream. I'm just posting it so we can refer back.
Yeah, we definitely want to make notes of some of these movies that come up. We've got Future Kick, we've got Naked Ghosts,
Camel Spiders and Cobra Gator.
Wow.
Yep.
My list of bad movies to watch is ever expanding. Okay, so are you familiar with Gingerdead Man?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw that. I rented the first one from said Hollywood Video, so I wasn't just making up a headcanon. I've definitely seen a good amount of those things just from browsing the aisles.
So
I've only seen the first one, though.
yeah, so Gary Busey stars as the titular Gingerdead Man, created from a mix of gingerbread spice mix and the ashes of deceased serial killer Millard Findlemeyer, who terrorizes a small town bakery.
That's a fucking name.
The plot. In a Waco, Texas diner, crazed killer Millard Findlemeyer opens fire on the Lee family, but leaving Sarah and her mother Betty alive. Findlemeyer is arrested and sentenced to die in the electric chair. After the execution, Findlemeyer is cremated and his ashes are sent to his mother, a witch who mixes the ashes with a gingerbread spice mix. So
yeah. Makes sense. I have a few Wiccan friends, and I'm sure that they, when they celebrate their solstice stuff, they use gingerbread mix. It's canon.
No, I love this part. Under production, it says, in an interview with PopHorror.com, Charles Band reportedly offered Busey $25,000 to star in the film, expecting him to turn it down, but Busey accepted.
All right, yeah, that's a good thing to bet on, though. I like that.
I think this is the one and only reason this movie was even remotely successful. Gary Busey only appears in the first scene, though, and after that it's just an animatronic gingerbread man. I have no idea.
Yeah, but it does have his voice.
Does he do the voice? Oh, because...
Yes, he does.
Okay.
He does the voice for the Gingerdead Man. Yeah. So it's not like he checked out after the one scene and then his electrocution. No, he is pervasive throughout, and also like the animatronic Gingerdead Man, eponymous, does have his resemblance a good bit. The ADR work on it is not bad either. Gary Busey gives a couple of good screams in this.
Well, that's cool. I heard it was an absolutely trash movie, but
oh yeah, it's absolute trash. But Gary Busey hams it up, very much hams it up.
So a year later, the same director directed a different movie, which I don't think was intended to be part of the same series, but later became part of it. That was Evil Bong.
Oh, okay. So I know of. Oh gosh, there's like movies like Halloween. I didn't know Evil Bong existed. So now this is a new one for me.
No, this has become a cinematic universe at this point. So, Evil Bong is a 2006 American stoner horror comedy film directed by Charles Band about a group of stoners who smoke from a sentient, malevolent bong that traps the smoker in the bong world, a surreal realm filled with killer strippers and other full moon creatures. The ending features an extended cameo by Tommy Chong of Cheech and Chong fame.
It says extended cameo, but if you look at the poster art, it shows Tommy Chong and says Tommy Chong at the top, giving you the impression, much like the movie Death Factory, which featured a cameo of Ron Jeremy, who then got killed almost immediately, that it has them as a prominent cast member. Yeah, I hate it when they do this.
I think this is a Charles Band staple to hire a big celebrity to be in 5 minutes of the movie and then feature them prominently on the poster.
Okay.
So, yeah, Jimbo Leary, Tommy Chong, proclaims that the bong named Eby is his and has a voodoo curse on it. Eby reveals her motives to control the world by turning the air into pot smoke and the oceans into bong water, making everyone massive stoners. It's very much on the nose.
Yeah.
Okay, so a year after that, Gingerdead Man 2, Passion of the Crust.
This one does not feature Gary Busey, I'm assuming.
No, I don't believe so.
No, it does not.
The film
that is a large cast list, too. Jeez.
The film was originally titled Gingerdead Man 2, Bakery of Blood, which would kind of fit the theme better, but they decide at this point they're just gonna make it into a big, terrible joke, I guess. Kelvin Cheatham
I
is trying to save his
they're not
father's...
wrong. I like this title better than The Bakery of Blood.
It's a little cringe to me, but, mileage may vary. Kelvin Cheatham is trying to save his father's studio from bankruptcy by producing worthy heirs to his father's slate of low-budget cult films. Polly Bonderhoof attempts to restore order with a box of baked goods from her sister in Waco, Texas, which includes the Gingerdead Man. He slips out of the pastry box and locates a spellbook in the prop room, which includes a transmigration spell to transfer his soul out of his stale form and into a human body. So this low-budget movie production company has a prop of a spellbook with real spells in it that a living gingerbread man can read from and come to life.
Suspension of disbelief.
Calvin orders the studio evacuated and sets off with Heather to confront the cookie and find Tommy, which goes badly when the Gingerdead Man seizes control of a prop robot with functioning lasers and disintegrates Jake.
Okay.
The next movie in the series, Evil Bong 2 King Bong. Jimbo Leary bought the bong in the Amazon in the 1960s while working for the Peace Corps. When half his friends die after smoking from EB, Jimbo locked her in his attic, where she stayed until his wife sold it. Believing they can find a cure, the five men travel to the Amazon. Felicity explains that her father uncovering a prehistoric strain of marijuana cultivated by an ancient people, the Poontang tribe.
Oh, come on!
EB is brought back to life by ancient marijuana smoke. The next one, Evil Bong 3D, The Wrath of Bong. It's like in their contract now that every title has to be a pun.
Okay. Also doing a 3D movie in 2011. Alright, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. Evil Bong was shot in 3D and utilized scratch and sniff cards that film viewers could smell at certain times during the film. There is no gimmick that this guy will not stoop to. A man burying his wife in the woods sees a meteor crash nearby. Investigating, he finds it's no meteor, but an alien capsule containing a large space bong. In a back room, Bachman smokes from Space Bong, who comes to life and is pulled into Space Bong's bong world, where he's sit upon by mostly nude women. So,
alright, we can stop with the bong naming things now, can't we?
I do kind of like how the plot to this one. This time they actually team up with the Evil Bong to defeat Space Bong, which is a different character.
It's written by a 7-year-old.
I know, right?
Whose dad smokes a lot.
It's written by a 7-year-old trying to impress his 14-year-old friends. Then 2011...
Oh no, there's another Gingerdead Man after this one.
Gingerdead Man 3, Saturday Night Cleaver.
Alright, that pun I can do without.
I know, right? They just get worse and worse. Yeah. On July 16th, 2008, Charles Band announced that he would be making Gingerdead Man 3, Saturday Night Cleaver, which he expected to be released in 2009. It was said to be about the title fiend traveling back in time to the 1970s, where he murders the contestants in a roller disco contest. At the Scientific Research Institute for the Study of Homicidal Baked Goods, the Gingerdead Man is visited by Clarissa
Very
Darling.
Specific tenure for that area of research. Wow.
It makes me wonder how many creatures exist in this movie's universe that aren't the Gingerdead Man.
Oh, this must be one of those SCP things I've heard so much about.
The Gingerdead Man is visited by Clarissa Darling, an FBI agent who attempts to kill the Gingerdead Man because he possesses the soul of her brother, Toothless McHomeless. What?
Toothless McHomeless. That's not even a joke.
I know. I think this just gets lazier as it goes on, but they made so many of these. A group of animal rights activists breaks into the institute. You know what? They're trying to be trauma. You can see it just by reading these things. They're trying so hard to be trauma.
Trauma at least puts some heart into their randomness. This isn't. This is no Toxie. This is no Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD. This doesn't even approach Tromeo and Juliet.
Yeah, Tromeo and Juliet was kind of rough. A group of
Except I do love Lemmy should narrate every movie. That's the only thing I got out of Tromeo and Juliet is Lemmy needs to be in every film. Bring him back from the dead. But wow, this movie sucks.
Okay, a group of animal rights activists break into the institute, overpowers her, and releases the Gingerdead Man and the rest of the baked inmates. The killer Cookie comes across the time travel studies room, shoots Dr. Acula and his partner, and is sent back through time as security tries to kill him. As the Cookie's about to finish them off, Pickles and Tina return from time traveling with Clarissa Darling, security, Adolf Hitler, Charles Manson, Jeffrey Dahmer, and Lizzie Borden. All 6 time travelers overpower the Cookie, tear him to pieces, and shove him into a cookie jar magic lamp. Pickles and Tina reveal...
So the 7-year-old from the previous Bong movie ended up, getting into middle school and wrote this, even though, as you said, it came out the same year. It's the same caliber, only slightly more, puberty influenced, I guess? Because there's a glory hole in this, apparently.
I know that I'm skipping over some context that might explain this, but it's probably better that we don't get into that. Pickles and Tina reveal to the aunt the winning numbers for the lottery, which is enough to keep the club up and running. Pickles and Tina also reveal that because they warned the FBI agent about the attack on the Institute, the events of the entire film never happened. Everyone who has died comes back to life, and the time travelers go back to their own time period, including the aunt, who goes back in time to prevent herself from causing the Pearl Harbor attacks.
All right, if you say Pickles and Tina one more time, I'm going to have to write a children's show called Pickles and Tina, because it sounds just as mature.
I love this last sentence so much. She goes back in time to prevent... No, she doesn't prevent the Pearl Harbor attacks from happening due to, the, original influence.
No, she just absolved herself of the blame.
To prevent herself from causing the Pearl Harbor attacks. What did she do in the first time around?
She was the one that deliberately threw the switch, otherwise a branch fell on the switch. That you're looking for justification where they're probably... Anakin, you're going down a path I cannot follow.
So the next movie, finally, we have Gingerdead Man versus Evil Bong, which bridges them all together.
I think you could feel the eye roll that I just gave.
Yeah. The description here says, the Gingerdead Man is on a tropical island being fanned by topless women. He ruminates on killing Sarah Lee, the only person to best him, but doesn't know where she is. Suddenly, a newspaper blows by with information on Sarah's upcoming bake-off, and he starts planning her demise. I just, after everything that this guy did in the first few movies, how does he end up on a tropical island being, fawned over by topless women?
This is the inverse level of luck that Don the Dragon had with his recurring characters in Bloodfist.
Yeah. Emi convinces the Gingerdead Man she has the power to restore his human form if he smokes from her, and enters the Bong world too. Gingerdead Man finds himself in a Bong world jungle and meets King Bong, who's been trapped inside the Bong world by Emi since the events of Evil Bong 2. King Bong uses his Poontang tribeswomen to send Gingy to the Pastry Tribunal, a court consisting of cream puff, baguette, tiny tart, and Rasta brownie, where he's sentenced to be eaten and reformed repeatedly and forever. I kind of like this plot better than the last one. Because it's wacky, but in a way that kind of makes me laugh.
Sir, I thank you for coming in for this. Unfortunately, I don't think your manuscript is a good fit for us here at Random House. You might want to try HarperCollins down the street.
You seem to have misunderstood the name of Random House and what we stand for. See, this sort of thing is why I wanted to do stuff like Wiki Sift, because I think these movies are way more interesting to talk about after reading like a brief summary rather than having to sit through and watch these, because they're probably all torture.
You wanted an excuse to not invest more of your time in actually watching stuff, but to invest that time into editing us talking about not watching it.
Yes, exactly.
I find no flaw in your arguments.
Gingy convinces the tribunal to give him one chance at life as a cookie, saying he'll be good. Okay, so keep in mind he's already murdered dozens of people by now. And he's like, give me one chance, I'll be good.
That murder was my last murder.
The final scene shows the Gingerdead Man smoking a joint while sitting on a rock in the bong world. There wasn't very much of a versus here. So this movie had
like nothing happen.
Yeah. So, in 2015, there's Evil Bong 420. There's no Wikipedia page for this movie.
It says, when Rabbit escapes Evil Bong's evil world, he opens a topless bowling alley and decides to have a celebration with friends. Little does Rabbit know that not only is Evil Bong on his trail, he's joined by Gingerdead Man, and they're showing up, invite or not.
Yeah, so this isn't a versus movie, but they just decided we're just putting Gingerdead Man in all the Evil Bong movies from now on.
Hey, if it makes money.
So, I was initially reluctant to consider both the Evil Bong and Gingerdead Man series as one series just because they did one crossover, but at this point they just decided Gingerdead Man is part of the Evil Bong world now. This really is a cinematic universe at this point.
No, don't even... actually do that. I don't like cinematic universes these days. They're too expensive and overly compressed. Give me Evil Bong Dead World.
Evil Bong 420 has a 3.7 rating on IMDb. The series doesn't end here. We also have the fifth Evil Bong movie, which is Evil Bong High Five. IMDb rating also 3.7 out of 10. E.B. the Evil Bong is back.
Are these being rated by bots?
It's really strange because you'll see in a second. E.B. the Evil Bong is back, and she's stronger than ever. With Larnell,
maybe just not enough people are watching it. Not enough people watch it to make ratings, so it's only the good ones that go out there.
I feel like it's
and
the same
still with
people.
a 3.5.
I think it's the same people just rating every single movie because the only person who bothered to watch the third one is also the only person who bothered to watch 4, 5, 6, and 7, and however many there are. With Larnell, Lee, Rabbit, and Felicity, and a lobotomized Gingerdead Man trapped in the Bong world for good, she once more sits about her plan for world domination. So they've pretty much given up at this point. The plot is just once more she tries to take over the world. As have
I.
The next one's Evil Bong 666. It's also rated 3.7 out of 10. Mindy Robinson, who previously played Phoebe in the previous movies, plays Lucy Fur.
Okay.
Get it?
Yeah, but I don't want to. I'd prefer not to. After having... I can't imagine what it's like to watch these movies. I feel like I have succumbed to weed brain already just from hearing the descriptions.
I looked through the credits of this one, and for some reason I got a kick out of just scrolling down until I found Diana Prince as Alluring Lady.
What a good credit to have on your IMDb page.
The next Evil Bong movie
Great contribution.
The next movie is Evil Bong 777. I'm like, now they've even given up on the titles.
Stop. We're done.
They've given up on the titles. They were trying to come up with funny ways. The 5th is high five. The 6th is 666. The 7 is 777. I don't know. Again, it's 3.7 out of 10.
The only thing I can give credit to this is their movie titles make more sense than the Kingdom Hearts subtitles, and that's a low bar to clear.
So I think your bot theory might have some weight to it, because 4 Evil Bong movies in a row are rated 3.7 out of 10. That's weirdly consistent.
Right. And you know, it's not like it's not a multiple of 5, it's not a multiple of 2, but it's all within like the same range. And
it's like
there has to be I think it's like 10 reviews is the minimum on IMDb before you get an aggregate rating for the film. So
I'm not sure what the exact number is, but yeah, it is weighted based on how many reviews. But I'm betting you that it's the same handful of people who worked on the movie who are giving it 10 out of 10, and the same handful of idiots who keep watching them and hate them and keep giving them 1 star, but then keep watching the next one.
Let's not call them idiots. These people are internet knights and royalty for taking the punishment to watch these movies and then review them.
I should have said something more along the lines of the poor saps, you know?
Hats off to you, Weed Greg 672 and High as a Kite 99, whoever you are. Whatever your names may be, thank you for making sure people know to not watch these movies.
So, in the description here, it says she's joined by her whack pack of fabulous freaks, Faux Baddie, Rabbit, Misty, and the Gingerdead Man. So they've just...
This is the Gingerdead / Evil Bong Avengers Initiative.
Mindy Robinson plays both Lucifer and Phoebe. the very memorable Phoebe character that she's known for. Now, I actually thought the series ended here because all the Wikipedia pages stopped there, but I noticed that these movies consistently come out every 1 to 2 years, and there hasn't been anything since 2018. And so I got curious, I Googled around, and found out there's a spin-off. In 2021, they made the Gingerdead Man.
That's not even a joke. That name is not. There's no funny. It just no.
It's just they're like, we loved this concept of the Gingerdead Man and gave him his own movie now. And I want
Gary
to mention,
Busey, why could you not have turned this down initially? Gary Busey, go back in time and don't stop yourself from yourself from preventing Pearl Harbor or causing Pearl Harbor. Stop yourself from, making the Gingerdead Man. You don't need the $25,000 that badly.
This is all because Gary Busey said yes to $25,000 to be in a movie.
Yeah. So undo it.
I want to mention, this is terrible, but one of the characters in one of the roles in Gingerdead Man, Eli Jane as Smokahontas. Charles Band is actually calling characters Smokahontas in 2021.
I was thinking we'd get a couple more episodes in before you made me speechless, but all right.
I know, right?
I feel, maybe it's the fact that I'm starting to feel sick right now. I've got that whole, loogie sinusy thing. Maybe it's the fact that it's almost my bedtime, or maybe it's the fact that I can't fathom, even if I were on board with this, if it were something that were making me money, and it was like, haha, giggles, immature jokes, after that amount of time, and that amount of, movie entries, I would have moved on to something else. I would find greener pastures. I look forward to 2023 when they come out with the next one.
Oh boy. Like,
obviously it will be based around opiates and bath salts.
Like, how much lower can they sink with this series?
No. You take back that question. You take that back. Because
but it's out there.
You've uttered it. Now they're going to make it. Whatever it is, it will disappoint you more. Or disappoint us. We'll have to have a revisit episode if Wiki Sift lasts that long.
Hey, intermission.
Alright, I stuck a Q-tip up my nose so far it hurt my head, so I'm assuming now that I've scrubbed all memory of Gingerdead and Evil Bong.
We can only hope. So
What's up next?
I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time, but I want to talk about Two-Headed Shark Attack.
Not heard of this.
This is an Asylum series. The very first
Alright,
movie...
say no more.
The very first movie, Two-Headed Shark Attack, stars Carmen Electra and Brooke Hogan.
Hulk's daughter?
Hulk Hogan's daughter, Brooke Hogan.
All right.
And it's about a two-headed shark that eats a bunch of people. The part of the summary that stood out to me is Kirsten sacrifices herself to try to blow up the shark. As it eats and kills her, she manages to light a fuse and cause an explosion. However, only one of the shark's heads gets blown off. A helicopter arrives, saving Kate and Paul, leaving only 2 survivors out of 23 people.
Well, that's an unsuccessful field trip. Well, the buddy system worked partially. 2 of them survived.
So, that was in 2012. 3 years
So
later...
what comes after? A Two-Headed Shark Attack 2?
No, Three-Headed Shark Attack. Starring Danny Trejo. That came out 3 years later. Burns and his 2 men...
I'm sorry, I'm trying to process this. The sequel to Two-Headed Shark Attack is Three-Headed Shark Attack?
Yes, and it is now about a 3-headed shark. Are you legitimately surprised by this? Because it gets so much better.
I am legit. Maybe it's just, again, maybe it was the Q-tip trying to erase Gingerdead Evil Bong, but I Okay.
Okay, so
all right.
Yeah, the second movie in the series is called Three-Headed Shark Attack. And it's about a killer 3-headed shark. Burns and his 2 men attempt to kill the shark. Burns' men are killed in the process. Burns manages to decapitate the shark's middle head, seemingly killing it. Burns fights the rest of the group. Surprisingly, the shark recovers, grows 3 more heads in place of the middle head, and eats Burns. Stanley sacrifices himself by allowing the shark heads to fight over him, resulting in 3 of the shark heads getting bitten off, and the shark itself dies of blood loss. So,
you know, I'm not like a marine biologist or anything. I've been to the aquarium in Baltimore a few times, and that was pretty cool. I don't remember sharks having an innate ability to spontaneously grow more heads.
Yeah, I guess it's a distant relative of the Hydra. So, in 2017, 2 years later, they followed it up with a sequel, 5-Headed Shark Attack. They skipped over 4-headed and went straight to 5-Headed Shark Attack.
And they have no intention of going back to just do less than 2-headed Shark Attack.
Nope.
Where the shark has 1.5 heads.
2 photographers and 4 models are mid-photo shoot on a yacht and in the water when a shark's dorsal fin breaches the sea's surface nearby. They begin photographing the shark, not realizing it is swimming toward them until it's too late, and a massive 4-headed shark bursts from the water, devouring everyone on board the yacht. So the movie starts out with a 4-headed shark, but the shark mutates halfway through the movie, and its tail grows a mouth and becomes a 5th head.
Oh no, where does it poop from?
Well, it says on its tail, it doesn't say its butt. So,
yeah. The tail is the shark's butt. I took that to heart when I was in like 2nd grade. It's still what I believe.
So we had two-headed shark attack, three-headed shark attack. They skipped over four-headed and went straight to five-headed shark attack. Actually, what I kind of love about that is the title five-headed shark attack is a spoiler, because it starts off as four-headed shark attack and then becomes five-headed shark attack at the end of the movie. So they followed it up in 2018 with six-headed shark attack. And then in 2019, they announced seven-headed shark attack to be released in 2029. 10 years after the announcement.
Okay, so they're just pulling, like, people's legs.
No, so I think the person responsible for this series decided Seven-Headed Shark Attack is my magnum opus. I am going to spend 10 years on this. It's going to be the best multi-headed shark attack movie ever made. It's going to be genius. You are all going to thank me. Like, 2029 he announced it for.
Well, how long ago did Stevo promise we would get Kung Pao 2 Tongue of Fury?
Yeah, but he didn't say it would take 10 years. That's the thing.
No,
like, there's so many times that that Hollywood directors and whatnot will announce a movie and then things go wrong and it takes years and years and they finally do it. I've never seen someone announce that it's going to take 10 years. Like...
No, they just Duke Nukem Forever it up on their own.
Yeah. So... I
right.
kind of am in love with this. This seven-headed
Guess I got a
shark.
plan to live at least that long to see whether or not this is a joke.
No, keep in mind these are Asylum movies. Asylum's MO is to like write a third of a script and then wing the rest and film it over a weekend and pad it out so it's an hour and a half long. And this guy is saying, I'm going to take 10 years to make this movie.
I think you might be over thinking like the level of effort he's going to put out throughout those years. It could just be he picks one weekend per year to work on it.
So why did he announce it so far in advance? Like, did he think he was going to
Because he wants to make sure he has some accountability for himself.
I guess I've announced it. Now I got to do it. Attack. I don't know. And 2029, I'll do it. Well, he's a man of his word.
Is there any more? Like, does they have any announced for the interim? Or is that it?
That's it. So I'm kind of looking forward to this one. I don't even necessarily want to watch it. I just want it to happen so I can feel good about living in a world where he did it.
Where somebody said they would do a thing and then they did a thing. Things you can inspire the next generation with stories of. Lily, when I was your dad, and, well, wait a minute, let me rephrase that. When I had just become your dad, and you were but a wee tot, there were legends that the seven-headed shark movie would happen, and 10 years later it did. I hope that one day you can make that kind of commitment to something.
All right, so let's talk about a series that I'm sure you're familiar with, the Lethal Ladies. Lethal being
Sedaris. Hello,
Andy
my old
Sedaris.
friend. Hi, Andy.
Yeah, Andy Sedaris' Wikipedia page says Sedaris was best known for his Bullets, Bombs, and Babes, or Bullets, Bombs, and Boobs, BBB for short, series of B movies produced between 1985 and 1998. These films featured a rotating stock company of actors, mostly made up of Playboy Playmates and penthouse pets. So, yeah, I've seen a couple of these movies. You probably have too. A lot of people have. The most famous, I think, is Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Yes.
Very hilariously corny movie. It's kind of lovable. Although most of the movies... they're just like occasional bonkers action movies, and then women taking their clothes off for no good reason. Oh, scene after scene after scene.
You're just describing what Andy Sedaris likes to make.
That's what he does. He made 12 of these movies, and you can get them all in a box set. Which I have because I wanted to get Hard Ticket to Hawaii, and they're like, well, the only way you can get it is if you buy this box set of 12 crap movies. What was the box set called? Guns, Girls, and G-Strings, I think it was.
Yes.
So,
so I was getting confused. I thought that Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity was also Sidaris. It is not.
I guess not. I haven't heard of that one. According to Andy Sidaris'
It's along the
Wikipedia
lines.
page, yeah, I can believe it.
It is along those lines.
I have a hard time believing that Andy Sidaris has a monopoly on naked women fighting crime. Like, it's an absurd thing, but not so absurd that it wouldn't be like a genre. I don't know. Most of Sidaris' Triple B series, later given the title Lethal Ladies, focused on the adventures of a team of secret agents and were mostly filmed in Hawaii. 2 entries in this series were merely produced by him and were written and directed by his son, Christian. This is his family business. Although the series
Good thing to
featured,
inherit.
Here, son, your very own harem of naked spies.
Well, Dad, thanks. I really wanted to get a new mountain bike, but this is cool too.
Although the series featured recurring characters and plots, continuity was not a priority, and it was common for an actor or actress who played a villain and was killed off in one film to reappear in a subsequent film as a hero. It was also common for the same role to be recast with an actor of a completely different race or ethnicity, as was the case with a recurring villain Kane, who first appeared as a Japanese-American man played by Pat Morita, only later to be a white German-British man played by Jeffrey Moore.
I miss you. I miss you so, Pat. Oh.
Okay.
Now watch at least one Lethal Ladies film. Like if you have the stomach for B movies and don't mind the titties, give it a go.
I recommend Hard Ticket to Hawaii. I think it's I haven't seen all of them, but it's a pretty entertaining one as far as his series goes. I did find a page that has a bunch of info on it, and according to this page, Lethal stands for Legion to ensure total harmony and law.
This has been an avalanche of B movie, Z movie information, and I don't know how much more my brain can handle.
Okay, well, I've got one more series that I want to talk about, if that's all right.
Hey! We just watched a bit of this the other night.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, that's awesome. Go ahead. Describe what it is.
Okay, this is Operation Delta Force. Now, which
Thanks,
kind of
Chuck.
Which begs the question: is Delta an operation or a force?
I think Delta is the name of the force, and they're doing an operation. Or
Okay.
maybe Delta Force is on shore leave and playing Operation. I can't be sure.
Focusing on the activities of an elite group of U.S. soldiers, Delta Force, the film titles apparently attempt to capitalize on the earlier Chuck Norris films, The Delta Force, and its sequels. So this is not Delta Force. This is a knockoff of Delta Force called Operation Delta Force.
Oh, okay, so this is different than what we watched the other night.
Yes. Now,
Okay.
think of every giant blockbuster movie from the 80s. You got E.T., Star Wars, Batman, Indiana Jones, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future. A few of them got cheap knockoffs to capitalize on their success, right? Like E.T. had movies like Nuki and Mac and Me, but those all
Top
made like
Gun had Iron Eagle and
Yeah.
a couple others.
Yeah, so like when something's super popular, people tend to try to imitate them to make a little bit of money. But like all of those made a modest amount of money and then faded into obscurity. None of them turned into an entire series. But The Delta Force, starring Chuck Norris, a movie that got number 3 at the box office in its opening weekend, got a knockoff series that lasted 5 movies. And the original Delta Force only had 3. And Operation Delta Force came out in 1997, 11 years after Delta Force. 11 years later, they're
this reeks of somebody who was writing fan fiction and then got, his cousin who works with a movie studio to make it happen.
It could be 11 years after a movie that made a decent amount of money but wasn't a big huge hit. 11 years later, they're like, I'm gonna capitalize off the kind of success of this 11-year-old movie, and
hey, Uncle Roger Corman, here is my fan fiction for Event Horizon written 20 years later. Let me see that. This is pretty good. Let's make a ripoff series called The Chandrasekhar Limit. Sorry, that is a science deep cut. But go ahead.
Okay, so Operation Delta Force came out in 1997. It wasn't even a direct-to-video. It was a made-for-TV movie. It was a made-for-TV movie ripoff 11 years later.
What station?
It stars Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters.
Ernie Hudson's been in a lot of bad movies.
Yes. So Operation Delta Force, there's no Wikipedia page for it or anything like that. I did look at the IMDb page. I didn't find a whole lot of information about that was interesting, other than the goofs. The IMDb goofs page just has a few, but then I looked at the IMDb reviews, and they keep mentioning even more goofs, and no two reviews mention the same ones. They must have made so many mistakes that it's like a weird sort of Rorschach. Everyone who watches it notices different horrible mistakes. It's kind of amazing. The IMDb Goofs page has these items. Factual errors. When the two trains are approaching, the leader of the terrorist group is shown emerging from the back door of a passenger car to view the stopped train in the middle of the bridge ahead of them. The only problem is the train on the tracks ahead of them can only be seen from the locomotive at the front of the train. To make matters worse, the terrorist leader was going out the back door of the car, so he is looking in the opposite direction. Not only could he not see the train straight ahead from anywhere but the locomotive, he wasn't even facing the correct direction to see it.
Wow.
Revealing mistakes. Just before the terrorist train contacts the enemy blocking train on the bridge in its attempt to push it back, the blocking train puts power to the wheels and begins backing up. Although it isn't supposed to have anyone in it, steam is clearly visible escaping from the drive system. That's just what it says on the Goofs page. And then I start looking at the reviews, and they're all pointing at completely different goofs. User Technoid, with a 7 instead of a T, 7echnoid, puts, check out the sound effects here. The bullets sound like they're hitting metal when they actually hit nothing but dirt, wood, or rock. User Tarbosh22000 says, at almost random intervals, it looks like some older stock footage of planes and such is tried out. It doesn't even come close to matching the newly shot stuff for the movie at hand. It seems like at any moment a graphic is going to come on screen that says, America's Navy, join today.
I'm not surprised.
User Bujin says, this film has one of the most stupid scenes I've ever seen in a film of its type. The bit where they are dropped off by a helicopter to the bottom of that railway bridge, and then climb up the bridge supports to the top. Why? Why not just get the heli to drop you off at the top?
Well, I mean, they have to pad the movie out. That's obvious.
User Scorpion Man says, the planes and tanks and maneuvers were actually news footage taken from the Gulf War. Also, before every single...
Oh, that's horrible!
Also, before every single explosion in the whole film, a minecart can be seen for a split second. This is because the film company spent that much money on actors that only had enough money for one explosion. So with that money, they shot the all-important exploding minecart scene and showed it over and over again. To add to this humiliating display, if you watch carefully, you never see a handgun fired. This is because the handguns are really just handgun-shaped hunks of metals, carefully shaped to look like handguns. And instead of showing them being fired, the camera angle simply shows the person falling over when you hear the bang.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that.
User Michael Troop says, as if the script was not bad enough, watch for the following. Finding these mistakes is the only reason to watch this movie. Constant cocking of automatic weapons as each character enters each scene. Team members swinging their loaded weapons across their buddies' bodies. Team members firing weapons apparently through each other's heads with no effect. Guns firing without muzzle flash, gas discharge, or recoil. A gun battle at point-blank range in a rail car with no casualties.
They all just stood around yelling pew pew.
I think they just did the sound effect, and there was no effect, like no visual effect whatsoever.
Bang, 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 bang.
A gun battle at point-blank range in a rail car with no casualties, no ricochets, and no damage to woodwork or any other material whatsoever. The reusing of
bullets
stock...
are reverse magnetic.
The reusing of stock footage on at least 3 separate occasions. Actors climbing out of the water dry. Scenes so badly blocked out that the female lead is looking over the head of the actor she is apparently staring in the eye.
Oy.
These are just
That's
all the
rough.
things that casual viewers managed to pick out from the first movie in the series. But then we have the second movie. I'm just going to read the summary for this one. A ship captained by the father, Dale Dye, of the leader, Michael McGrady, of Delta Force, is taken hostage by terrorists. As might be expected, the force is sent in to stop them. I love how lazy the descriptions are already. Like, the second one, it's already like, well, as you can expect, they do an operation to rescue someone. You know how it is. Delta Force 3, clear target.
To make the budget back, that's the clear target.
So the first 2 movies were made for TV, and the rest were direct-to-video. Operation Delta Force 3, clear target. The anti-terrorist Delta Force is called into action once again in this thriller, concerning a crazed genius who threatens to unleash a biological weapon with the power to kill everyone in New York City.
Oh, no.
Now, reviews for this one were mixed, but I think the best review for the third movie is actually mentioned in a review for the fourth movie. So, here, I'm going to open up the IMDb page for the fourth movie. A 4-man Delta Force team is trying, with the help of a female scientist, to stop a mad terrorist who wants to detonate nukes in order to cause a massive earthquake. The team is outmanned and outgunned, but has nothing to lose.
Except for their men and their guns.
So I'm just going to read some reviews here on the IMDb page. User Foz90. Credit must also go to director Mark Roper. Give this guy a blockbuster now. On this, his second comedy masterpiece. I say second as he was responsible for the equally comedic Operation Delta Force 3, where he so cleverly used bright pink fireworks in place of explosions, and green crash mats for supposedly dead bad guys to fall onto.
That's depressing.
Pink fireworks in place of explosions.
Effort. Some people have it.
User Wheels128 says, informative. Utter crap, but informative. He says, as a huge fan of the original Operation Delta Force, I thought I'd pick this film up. I figure it couldn't be too bad. However, here's a list of things I learned from watching Operation Delta Force Deep Fault. The Delta Force, despite being the elite in American armed forces, are mostly mildly overweight men in their late 30s and early 40s.
So every time I go to the gym.
The Delta Force, despite being the elite in American armed forces, haven't learned that during stealth missions, wearing bright red ski jumpers and running around open spaces aren't exactly going to keep you out of sight. When you drop a Molotov cocktail into a tank, it explodes externally like a grenade. When you get hit by tank fire, you can run away, although the smoke cause may present minor difficulties for breathing.
Okay.
You can die from one standard gunshot, but you can also live despite being hit multiple times by a sniper rifle and a few times by an AK-47.
Alright, that's where I'm now lost.
If bad guys are approaching you while on a slow-moving train, there's nothing to worry about. Between the four of them, they can't manage to figure out how to get an automatic weapon to fire automatically, let alone hit anyone from 5 meters, with at least 50 attempts between them. Shooting someone multiple times in the chest will cause minor damage. Stabbing that person in the knee will kill them inside 5 seconds.
Alright, that I did know. Thanks, Elder Scrolls.
That reminds me of GoldenEye a little bit. User Owen Smith says, some really badly edited scenes are present, particularly the one with the tank. The scene would appear to be shown out of order, making it look like one guy was shot at by the tank and then managed to avoid the blast by jumping away after the explosion.
Oi. These people, they need to hire, like, a continuity person even if they don't invest in, like, you know, pink fireworks and green mats. Get a continuity person. Make sure that they jump before the explosion, not after.
It really... Like, once again, this is really begging the question of why they made so many of these.
People watch them. I guess that's what the justification is.
Remember, there were 3 Delta Force movies, and there are 5 Operation Delta Force movies. I just can't get over that. So, the 5th one, Operation Delta Force 5, Random Fire. An elite task force is assigned...
Sorry, go ahead.
What?
Random Fire was my nickname the first time I had sex. That was just the joke that jumped into my head when you said Random Fire. At this point, you know, we've been recording for 2 hours and 15 minutes, Tom. I used all of my material and the stuff you're gonna cut anyway.
I appreciate the apology. An elite task force is assigned to handle a Middle Eastern terrorist mastermind who is using mind control techniques to create an army of willing suicide bombers. Let me point out that...
Yeah, I'm a big nope on that entire premise.
Yeah. I want to mention all 5 of the Operation Delta Force movies came out in the span of only 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, the IMDb... I guess that explains why they were so shoddy. They must have rushed them like nobody's business. The IMDb Goofs page mentions the rank insignia on General Thompson's uniform shows 5 stars, indicating that he is a general of the army, aka a 5-star general. The rank of 5-star general only exists during wartime and is not currently active in the United States Armed Forces. The last person who was conferred the rank General of the Army was Omar Bradley on September 22nd, 1950. See, like, this is something that the average person probably isn't gonna know, but is so easy to research.
Mm-hmm. I'm not familiar with that term, research. What are you talking about?
So, reviews of the 5th movie. Wizard8 says, stock footage supposing to show the city streets of Boston was obviously shot in Los Angeles. You can see palm trees in the footage. User Tarbush 22,000. Wait. That name sounds familiar. Did he review the earlier one? Yeah, he was also one of the people who reviewed the first movie in IMDb. I guess that makes sense.
There's like your next Wiki Sift episode is just to trace all of the people who review the bad movies for their IMDb handles.
Yeah, we should just find one person and look at all their reviews and just determine their viewing habits and like put together.
Oh my god,
I
was being sarcastic. No, don't say it. No. No.
No, this would
whatever
be
you
fun.
want to do. I'm just along for the ride.
I'm not stalking someone. I'm just like inventing headcanon for a stranger.
Anyway, I said, I'm just along for the ride.
Anyway, so this user says in their review, please allow us to quote from the back of the TVA Films Canada DVD box. It says in part, after attempting to describe the plot for a few sentences, the inquiry is interrupted when news arrives that the 3 men left behind are now being held prisoner in Angola by terrorist Osama bin Laden. Says, wait a minute,
Oh.
are they allowed to do that? We were led to believe old Osama himself would make an appearance in this movie. So naturally, like any sane individual, we purchased the DVD at the library store for $2. It could just be that the box writer was confused by the actual baddie's name, Jafari bin Qasim, but the only similarity is the bin.
Yeah. Some people do. Do you think that they got paid a lot of money to write the back blurb? I'm assuming they had no emotional investment in their work.
I just love that idea that they accidentally mistook the fictional character for a real life person. This is kind of incredible to me. User Encord with an H, so it's like a pun. Encord. I can actually accept movies ignoring the ammunition limit, weapons being able to fire in infinity, but to have a scene where one soldier clearly calls out of ammunition, releases his cartridge, and then resumes firing can only be the sign of a really incompetent director. And it is incredible that not anyone, writers, actors, none of the people involved seem to have noticed. I love this. That sounds amazing.
That
Like,
I do want to watch now.
Yeah, it's like...
Or just that scene, at least.
That's like the kind of goof that you wonder, like, was it on purpose? Did they purposely make it bad? Like, for someone to yell out loud, I'm out of ammunition, and release the cartridge, and then immediately start firing again. User Mazi
The
Bindi.
bullets were inside of you all along. You just had to, use the power of your imagination to keep the gun firing.
Okay, I like this one. User Mazi Bindi gave it a 10 out of 10, and their summary was intelligent thriller. Their review says performances.
That's a bot.
The review says performances were polished. Actors knew how to handle weaponry and military protocol. Action-packed, suspense, eye candy like Cedric, Graham Richards, and the villain. Camaraderie worth of Kelly's heroes, Heartstopper, scenic vistas, science fiction twist, good characterization. 3 out of 13 found this helpful.
What happens when you let autocorrect write your review for you?
I love that, the 3 out of 13 people who found this helpful implies to me that everyone who went to this IMDb went there because it was terrible. And they looked at the reviews and this guy likes this movie? What's wrong with him? Downvote.
Yeah, and the 3 people who liked it were 3 accounts that the person who wrote it made. User MST300012. I guess that's 300,012. Also gives it a 10. No, it's MST 3012. So it's Mystery Science Theater 3012.
Yeah, except there's too many zeros. It's Mystery Science Theater 300,012.
Well, they fell asleep while writing it.
Yeah, and they're just stuck with their username from then on. They also rate this movie 10 out of 10, but this one reads a little bit more sarcastic. Their summary is, name one film better than this. As far as epic filmmaking goes, Yossi Wayne has hit the nail on the head with this pitch-perfect piece of trash movie. It has a certain surreal charm to it. Much like a David Lynch film, Operation Delta Force 5, Random Fire, leaves many questions open-ended and unanswered. How come the enemy keeps bombing the same part of the complex in which the Delta Force is stationed, always appearing to have done the same amount of damage? Why is it that the 5 men left the complex safely, and yet only 4 board the helicopter? Why is Jafari bin Qasim's mouth not shown when he talks?
I'm just shaking my head now. I'm starting to lose my voice, so I'm just shaking my head.
No, I did come across something really funny about this. When I was trying to find more information about this movie, I actually found this movie on a wiki called the Die Hard Scenario Fan Wiki.
That's a thing I didn't know existed and probably will forget very quickly.
It is a wiki entirely of movies that are vaguely conceptually like Die Hard.
All right.
It's like you ever hear someone describe a movie as like Die Hard but on a train, or Die Hard but in Texas.
Yes, absolutely.
That is what this wiki is
interesting to know that somebody made a whole wiki about,
yes,
though.
Someone made a whole wiki about this. So Operation Delta Force 5 has a page on it. It only has a bare-bone description, but this movie was put into 17 categories. And just to name a few of the categories for Operation Delta Force 5, Die Hard scenario films with militia group villains, Die Hard on a train scenario movies, Die Hard scenario films with helicopter attacks, Die Hard scenario films with Islamic villains, Die Hard in embassy scenario movies, Die Hard in a building scenario movies, Die Hard in a forest scenario movies, Die Hard scenario with mad bomber villains, Die Hard scenarios with modern day warfare, Die Hard in an African country scenario. They have a lot of categories.
I don't normally question what people do with their time and enthusiasm. And I'm tempted to break that rule here, but you know what? At least somebody is out there categorizing these movies, so if I ever want to look up a Die Hard movie involving a independent record store somewhere in New Jersey, I know where to go. Oh, did I lose you, Tom?
No, I think I just need a breath after all of that. So that's it for today. Thank you to everyone for listening. Please review us on whatever you're listening to us on. It doesn't have to be a good review. Any review is fine. If you're not sure what to say, just say these people are a bunch of sad loser nerd monkeys. Until next time.
Definitely classify this podcast as Die Hard, except you're listening to it on your Samsung Galaxy.